Reading from Sri Prabhupada's Leela cities. Virabhadra, I said in Bhagavad Gita, a pure devotee feel pain because he is always chanting and Krishna is always protecting him. Prabhupada, yes, pain was there, but it was not too much. The boys, the disciples were chanting and I was chanting, that was not so much. It was not so much pain. That is already explained. Then there is distress. The devotee takes it that I am suffering for my past deeds, but I should have died at this moment, but Krishna is simply giving me a little pain. That's all. Actually, that was the thing. That day I should have, the heart attack was so severe. I should have died. Nobody survives such heart attack, but Krishna saved. That's all. Virabhadra. And my fourth and last question is, are you in this world? Prabhupada. Virabhadra, are you in this world? Prabhupada, I am. Virabhadra, are you in this world? I mean, you are. Prabhupada, I am not in this world. Yes. Virabhadra, you are not in this world? Prabhupada, no. Gopalaita has heard that you are in this world without being the part of it. You are in the world without being part of it. Like the lotus flower which floats on the water. Prabhupada, yes, that is the way. That is the way of understanding. Just like I am in America, very easy to understand. I am not adopting any ways of life as the Americans do. So I am not in America. Not only myself, all my disciples who are following me, they are also not Americans. They are different from American behavior, American ways of life. In that sense, I am not in America, I am in Vrindavan. Because wherever I go, in my apartment or in the temple, I live with Krishna, Krishna consciousness. I don't accept any consciousness of America. But I teach my disciples also to take that consciousness. So one who takes to that consciousness is also not in America, not in this world. I have given this example many times. So Prabhupada ki Jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Narayanam Namastutyam. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayamudhidaye. Nishtaprayesha Padreshu. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke. Bhakti Bhavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, and Text 7. Abhasaha cha nirodha cha avasascha nirodhascha yataha asti adhyavasiyate yatosti adhyavasiyate saha आश्रयः परं ब्रह्म साश्रयः परं ब्रह्म परमात्मेति शब्दते परमात्मेति शब्दते आभासश्च निरोधश्च यतोऽस्ति अध्यवसीयते साश्रयः परं ब्रह्म परमात्मेति शब्दते आभासश्च निरोधश्च यतोऽस्ति अध्यवसीयते साश्रयः परं ब्रह्म परमात्मेति शब्दते आभासश्च निरोधश्च यतोऽस्ति अध्यवसीयते आश्रयः परं ब्रह्म परमात्मेति शब्दते आभासश्च निरोधश्च यतोऽस्ति अध्यवसीयते आश्रयः परं ब्रह्म परमात्मेति शब्दते the cosmic manifestation. Cha, Nirodha, and its winding up. Cha, also, Yataha, from the source, Asti, is, Adhyavasiyate, become manifested. Saha, he, Ashrayaha, reservoir, Param, the Supreme, Brahma, being, Paramatma, the Super Soul, Iti, thus, Shabdate, called. Translation purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Translation. The Supreme One who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. That is the supreme fountain and absolute truth. Please repeat. The Supreme One, who is celebrated, as the Supreme Being, as the Supreme Soul, is the Supreme Source of the cosmic manifestation as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus is the Supreme Fountainhead, absolute truth, purport by Prabhupada. Synonyms of the Supreme Source of all energies, as explained in the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, are Janmadhyasya Vidaha, Vadanti Tattvagat Vidastatvam, Yajnanamadbhayam, Brahmeti Paramatmeti Bhagavaniti Shabdate, called Param Brahma, Paramatma or Bhagavan. The word iti used here in the verse completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses, but this Bhagavan means ultimately Lord Krishna, because the Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishna's Guru Bhagavan Swayambhu. The original source of all energies or the summum bonum is the absolute truth, which is called Parabrahma, etc. And Bhagavan is the last word of the absolute truth. But even with the synonyms of Bhagavan such as Narayan, Vishnu, Purusha, etc., the last word is Krishna, as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham Sarvasya Prabhavo, Matta Sarvam Pravartate, etc. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the representation of Lord Krishna as the sound incarnation of the Lord. Krishna Swadhamo Pagate Dharma Jnana Visaha Kalo Nashta Krishnamesha Purana or Adamata. Thus, by general conclusion, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of all energies, and the word Krishna means that. And to explain Krishna or the science of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this truth is indicated in the questions and answers by Sutta Goswami and great sages like Shamanaka, etc. And in the first and second chapters of the canto, this is explained. In the third chapter, this subject is more explicit, and in the fourth chapter, even more explicit. In the second canto, the absolute truth as the personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and the indication is the Supreme Lord Krishna. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, as we have already discussed, is succinct. This Supreme Personality of Godhead and the ultimate issue is confirmed by Brahma in his Brahma Samhita as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. So it is concluded in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The complete subject matter is elaborately explained in the 10th and 11th cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the matter of changes of the manus of Manvantaras, such as the Swayambhu Manvantara and Chakshusha Manvantara, as they are discussed in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna is indicated. In the 8th canto, Vaivasvata Manvantara explains the same subject indirectly, and in the 9th canto, the same purport is there. In the 12th canto, the same is further explained, specifically regarding the different incarnations of the Lord. Thus, it is concluded by studying the complete Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate summum bonum or the ultimate source of all energy. And according to the grades of worshippers, the indications of the nomenclature may be differently explained as Narayana, Brahma, Paramatma, etc. Dashan's the Bhagavatam, Bhagavato Madhyana Timidam, Dasya, Yamanjana Shalakaya, Chakshurun Milikam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Vishaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamy Namine, Namaste Saraswate Deve Bhagavani Prachadine, Nirvisesha Srimati Vachari Deskarane, Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So here the Sa Ashraya Parabrahma. Now the 10 subject matters are being discussed, are elaborated in these verses. So here Ashraya, that means the supreme source. Parabrahma Paramatma iti Shabdate. Actually, any intelligent person should be keen to understand the source. In our day-to-day activities also, we try to understand the source. Let us say somebody is singing in the temple hall. Immediately we want to know who is singing, the source of the sound, because that completes the understanding. If somebody is coming with a pistol, automatically the mind will see whether it is a police or a terrorist. Source is important. Who is carrying? So we see powerful energies acting in this world. Very, very powerful energies. The energies which bring in rain, which bring in earthquakes, which bring in big phenomena in this world. We also see there are some potencies which bring in diseases, massive pandemics, right? So the question should be, what is the source? And what is the nature of the source? That is important. If the potencies are in the hands of, let us say, some terrorist, we are finished. But let us say the source is a pious person, then we know we are safe. These are all very normal calculations in our day-to-day life. So if you look at the sources, ultimately there must be some supreme source. The source of me is my father, father's source. Like that, ultimately, when any intelligent person will reach to the ultimate supreme source. Now this has been a question for everybody. It's a question for the scientists. It's a question for any intelligent person. Scientists also ask this question: what is the ultimate source? But unfortunately, the scientists think that ultimately the source is just a small particle. Sometime back they have discovered something called a God particle, and they think that, of course they have not directly said that, but their ultimate goal is that one single particle is there, which is combining itself and making all these varieties of shapes and manifestations. That single particle assumes various forms. It's all combination of one single particle. So they want to bring down everything, all kinds of forms and manifestations, as combinations of one single particle. This is the problem with the scientists. They don't see that in our practical experience, we see two types of energies. One that is moving and conscious, moving around, all those things. One is an energy like this. This table, if you leave it, it will remain here for millions of years. But whereas we see another kind of energy, which is actually moving, continuously conscious. Prabhupada explains, let us say an ant is going on, and then you keep your finger like this. Immediately the ant will find its way, will come to the kitchen, take a turn and go. See? So you see in your experience there are two energies. One is non-moving and non-conscious, and one more is conscious and has emotions and feelings. These are the two varieties. Anybody energy. Unfortunately, scientists are unable to see this difference. They think even the so-called conscious beings also combinations of matter, one single individual, one single particle combined into become a human being or a living entity or a tree or whatever. So, but by a sensible analysis, we see that there are two energies. One is conscious, lively, having desires, emotions. One more is dull, non-conscious, and doesn't have any desires. So, if there are two, then who is that one who created these two? The ultimate source should be one. Someone who decided that there should be two types like this in this world, right? Somebody might have decided why, otherwise why two? So the scientists unable to understand the variegatedness, these two energies. Actually, there are so many energies, but at least on a broad level they don't see these two. And so these two are coming from one supreme source. The question that is asked is whether that supreme source is conscious or non-conscious. So, scientists say the supreme source is non-conscious particle, a dead material particle. But here Prabhupada is quoting the famous Bhagavatam, Janmadasya Graha. The original source is actually a conscious being, a conscious being, Parabrahma. Brahma means being, conscious being. So the ultimate generator of all the energies, the ultimate maintainer, the ultimate nirodha, abhasascha nirodhascha yato asti adyavasiyate. The original source of all energies is actually a Sa Ashraya Parabrahma. That original source or shelter of all these energies is Parabrahma, is a supreme being. And he is also known as Paramatmeti, iti, Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdate. Here also the same words, Paramatmeti, Bhagavaniti, Shabdate. So that's what Prabhupada is saying. Here the word iti indicates finally Bhagavan. So there are very technical words the Shastra is using. Here Parabrahma refers to original source of all energies. And who is that original source? We understood that he must be a conscious being. Only somebody who is having brain can decide, okay, one variety should be like this, one more variety should be like this. There is a discrimination, there is a variety. That means there should be a creative brain. And that creative brain is called Parabrahma. That is Krishna. We should be able to, devotee should be able to justify that the original source is a living entity. Even if you take that, okay, originally there is one particle which has combined into all these forms, the question comes, who is the combiner? No particles can combine on its own and turn it into some interesting forms. We don't see in our practical life, right? We don't see, we can call upon thousands of particles to come and become a nice temple. And immediately one temple comes. We don't see such things happening. If it is happening, then we can say, okay, somebody has to combine all these particles. And then only some interesting, wonderful, beautiful creations and manifestations they come. Adyavasiyate means become manifest. Manifestations cannot come just accidentally like that. So, this is a very strong philosophy of the scientists that everything originates from matter. Even the matter also must be coming from one single original some particle that is combined. So Prabhupada in his manifest days in 60s and 70s, you see, very strongly and vehemently he opposed this idea that life comes from chemicals. Very strongly opposed. He became very pleased and his educated disciple, one of the disciples is a PhD, and he wrote a book also, The Scientific Evidence of Krishna Consciousness. So he has very strongly, in one of the seminars he goes where the scientist says life comes from chemicals. And that scientist has explained in various colorful terms how chemicals will make this way, that way, all those things he is explaining. In the end, this disciple asked him, okay, I will give you all the chemicals to you, can you produce life? And that scientist said, that we cannot do, that will happen in the future. So he comes back and tells Prabhupada. Prabhupada was very happy. He said, yeah, that's the right question. So devotees, the real glorification of the spiritual master comes when they can refute these atheistic theories. There is nobody, there is no creator, there is no combiner, there is no conscious being behind all these things. Devotees should be able to refute. Prabhupada says, okay, offering flowers to the spiritual master is okay, nice, you are religious, but that's not the real worship of the spiritual master. One should understand the role of the Sa Ashraya Parabrahma. One should understand the role of the Supreme Source, Supreme Dharma, Parabrahma, in this manifestation, Abhasa, cosmic manifestation, Nirodha, winding up. Everywhere, every phase of this cosmic manifestation, Krishna is involved. Currently it is going on, sustenance is there. So he is there. In every aspect, there is a conscious being who is overseeing all these things. So here Prabhupada is mentioning here the translation, the Supreme One who is celebrated as the Supreme Being. That word that is used in Bhagavad Gita is here the one who is celebrated in all the scriptures. Who is that? Yasmat charam atitoham aksharadati apichottama atosmi loke vedhecha pratita purushottama. Here Krishna is saying, because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Pratita Purushottama, I am celebrated as. People who hear this sloka, they think, oh, Krishna is so egoistic. And you see, I am the greatest. But we see one of the boxers, he is maybe old now, or maybe we don't know. He said, I am the greatest. And in his last years, he cannot even lift his glass to drink because old man, no, he cannot even, he has got some Parkinson disease or something like that. So, here Krishna, see, Atosmi Loka Vedecha Pratita Purushottama. I am the greatest and I am celebrated as the Supreme Person. See? So, Bhagavad Gita, actually just before that, just before that he says, Uttama Purushastu Anya Paramatmeti Udahata Yo Lokatrayam Avishya Vibharti Avyayeshwara. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Lord Himself, who has entered into these worlds and is maintaining them. Yat Paramatmeti. And in the next verse, he is saying about Purushottama as the Supreme Personality. So, actually, Bhagavad Gita is the complete science of Krishna. Is Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavatam is all cantos are actually various bodily parts of the Supreme Lord Krishna. It is identical to Krishna. In the purport, Prabhupada is elaborately quoting how each and every canto is indicating Krishna. First canto, second canto, even the chapters are referring to Krishna. For example, in the first canto, you see Sutta Goswami concluding that Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. He mentions many incarnations and he concludes that Ete Chamsa Kalapamsaha Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Now, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they should know this verse. This is one of the crucial verses of Bhagavatam where it declares Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. Swayam Bhagavan is Krishna. So, in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj Maharaj, he quotes this verse to prove that Krishna is the original form of the Parabrahma. He is the original form, original Bhagavan. Many other forms of the Supreme Lord, or sometimes the powerful personalities, are also called Bhagavan. Narada is also referred to as Bhagavan, Vyasa, Bhagavan, like that. But the original form of Bhagavan is Krishna. Krishna is the original source of all the energies, or all kinds of forms. So, that is in the first two cantos he explains. If you see the questions that are asked by the sages of Naimisharanya, one of the questions is Krishne Swadhamopagate Dharmajnana. After Krishna, he went back to Swadhama, his own abode, along with Jnana and Dharma. Kalau Nashtadrusham, in this Kali Yuga, who lost their vision, Eshaha Puranarko Admotitaha, to give vision to the Kalau Drushta, Nashtadrusham, then Puranarko, the Bhagavatam has been, it has arisen, which is compared to like a sun. So if you see, when Krishna went back to his abode, which is the one which is giving knowledge, which is the one which is enlightening this world, it is mentioned that is Srimad Bhagavatam. So the question is, when Krishna is not there, who came to give jnana and dharma? That is Srimad Bhagavatam. So that means Bhagavatam is actually the representation, it is the incarnation of Krishna himself in the book form. And so Prabhupada is mentioning every canto, first canto, second canto, third canto. All the 12 cantos are referring, indicating only Krishna as the original source of all energies and other energetic forms. So this is the faith that devotees should have, that Krishna is the original form and is the original source. Any questions?
Hare Krishna. In this verse, the source, winding up, as Krishna is mentioned.
Yes.
All these are characteristics of the omnipotence of the Lord too.
Yeah. Actually, in Bhagavad Gita also, we see there are a lot of statements like whenever there is a decline of religion, I appear, and all the demons will be killed, annihilated. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. There are so many statements we hear in Bhagavad Gita. So actually speaking, the original Lord, the son of Nanda Maharaj, he have got nothing to do with any of these activities. Directly. Killing demons is not his function. That is done by Chaturvyuha. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Anuruddha. They will manage all this. But Krishna, Nanda Kumara, then what is he doing? He has got nothing to do. Natasya kaharam karanam charityate. Nothing to do. Simply holding his flute on the banks of Yamuna, wearing the beautiful yellowish garments and shining in the moonshine, holding a wonderful flute which is bedecked with the diamonds and rubies and all that. And then he is standing in Tribhanga form and is playing his flute. This is the description of the original form of Krishna. Our Sampradaya is targeting that form, the original form, who has nothing to do, Natasya karyam karanam charutyate. But at the same time, Golokeva Nivasati, but at the same time, Agalatma Bhuta is still present in all the living entities. How he does that? By his expansions. So, original Lord, he appears in many forms. Those expansions also two types are there. Swamsha, energetic forms, expansions, and the Vibhinamsha, Jivas. That is also an expansion of the Lord only. Jiva is also an expansion of Krishna only, but tiny, minute expansion. Energy expansion, marginal energy expansion. So he does all these activities, creation of the world, maintenance, and winding up. He is not directly involved like that, but through the Purusha incarnations. He does all this. Like in the last verse, we see the winding up actually means the whole cosmic manifestation goes inside the body of Mahavishnu. That is called Vindika. Nirodha means that go and take shelter of Mahavishnu's body. Okay, so the original form is Krishna and he manages all these things by his other forms. Any other question? Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada told in one conversation, in 50 years life comes from life will be proved. Recently I heard. So prove means how it will.
We all have to preach. That's the proof. You don't need any ascending process to prove. The most intelligent way of acquiring knowledge is to hear from the experts. Hear in the descending process. That's all. And the most expert is the Parabrahma. Saya Ashaya Parabrahma. Krishna is the most expert. And actually, you see the prayers, Krishna Prabhupada is saying, by your will, Maya has captured the jivas. So Prabhupada is recognizing the source of this material energy as Krishna. So now material energy is beating up all the jivas here, left and right. Big beating has come now in the form of coronavirus. But then this Maya is in the hands of whom? And in the hands of a very merciful person called Krishna. And so the next line is appealing to Krishna. If you wish, you can remove these clutches. So somehow you have brought me here, but actually he's saying I am a Dina, I am very wretched. So you use me, you must have some purpose, that's why you brought me here. So if you want to prove, he is saying Veda Nai, Bhakti Nai. But if you want, but by your will, you can prove Bhakti Vedanta. The point is, the original source is a very merciful person. That takes a relief. Okay, I can appeal. Otherwise, all these meetings, how will you come out of it? But then, on our own, we will not be able to understand who is the source of this gigantic cosmic manifestation. Not easy. So one has to understand Krishna's wonderful mercy is that he has sent Prabhupada here. That is his greatest mercy. And Prabhupada has revealed Krishna to us, the original source. Right? Otherwise, impossible. We will not be able to understand Krishna. Okay, so by mercy of Guru and Krishna, we will slowly advance in our understanding. So, our process is to convince people that you cannot understand everything by research. In fact, under the current circumstances of pandemic, most of the people understood this. Because every day one theory is coming. On what? On the minutest living entity called Corona. Even to understand that minutest living entity, the people are struggling. Now 6 months, 7 months are passing by. Even now we don't know how coronavirus behaves. We don't even know. One day, one theory. One day they said in the air it will not be there. One day said no, it is there. And the other day they said, in the beginning they said no mask, then they said mask, then no mask, and then no, that mask with that additional, that no. You know, what will you do just to understand only smallest living entity? All the scientists of the world put together, unable to understand. And look at the potency of this one minutest living entity. And but that potency is very dangerous. But ultimately, all these potencies are controlled by the Supreme, this Parabrahma. So that's why we should be eager. Why this potency has come now? Why he has sent all these things? Somebody has to understand. So Parabrahma cannot be understood by our endeavor, only by his own revelation. So he revealed himself in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, and we can understand his nature. His nature is joyful, his nature is merciful. All those qualities are there. So then we become very passive. Wow, he is the kind of personality. So why not have a relationship with that person? That is our goal. But can the scientific theories ultimately lead to understanding that life comes from life? We have to wait and see. If he is a pious scientist, a devoted scientist, he will easily say, yes, everything came from a personality, God. Otherwise, most of the scientists or the people are atheists. For example, they say coronavirus, they say it is only a proton molecule, protein molecule. That's all. They don't recognize that it is a living entity. They say it's a protein molecule. How protein can come and catch you and create all kinds of troubles? They don't understand. It's a protein molecule. How the protein molecule goes inside and replicates itself and becomes bigger and bigger? And they don't understand. Neither they understand. But we know this coronavirus is a living entity. It's a revenge of the material nature. It is coming and creating this work. See, these kind of understandings are only possible once we come in touch with descending process. So Prabhupada ki Srimad Bhagavatam